Hi, so this is a video just to remind you all that it's really important that we try to raise the issue of Amoc decline and geomagnetic field decline with our political representatives, and ask them to lobby our governments to declare these issues matters of national security, and also in a transparent way, and also just allow for then money resources within our budgets to develop strategies and contingencies and gather resources to address the needs and the needs of our populations, our in our relevant respective countries. We've got to do this urgently. From what I've seen, this is going to be something that is, these changes are going to accelerate over the next few years, especially going into the 2030s. I think we're going to see a lot of changes. Again, as the field declines and the ocean current, Amoc starts to be increasingly be affected, and possibly the subpolar gyre as well. We face a lot of changes on this planet that we've got to be prepared for. So it's really important that we start working towards that now. It's not going to be offered to us on a plate. Our governments are not going to say this to us unless we insist on it, okay? There are lots of reasons for that. Lots of very complicated reasons why they're not going to be transparent with us, okay? Lots of complicated reasons. It's a very complex issue, but again, so we've got to be the ones really as well in the public. There's got to be a demand and appetite for this information to be released. Otherwise, it's just not. It may be too late before anything is done, okay? Or it may already be that we start to see, one major disaster is enough. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, let's not wait for that one instance of one major incident. We don't want to see any, let's try and do get these preventative measures in place now, okay? Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's not worth waiting till I don't know, a few thousand people have died in some major incident, for instance, and then saying, oh well, actually, yeah, maybe we should do this now, and all that. And by that point, like, things have already started getting, we've already lost, a few thousand people. Let's get it done now. Let's do it now, because it is something we must reckon with. These changes are going to happen, and they're already happening on our planet. We're going to start to see that more evidence of that as time goes on, and even now, like this over the last few weeks, or sorry, the last week in Britain, we've had the hottest. I think we had the hottest May temperatures on record. And I've got this feeling, based on the premonitions that I've had, that drought is going to start to become more of an issue. It may not be necessarily in this country, although I think it might, ahead of a possible temperature drop, but certainly in Europe. As well, Europe may start to see more droughts and issues with that as well. These are the things that we've got to start thinking about now. It's not just the drought aspect; it's crops, it's all sorts of things, it's shelter, it's flood defenses, it's making sure that we're monitoring seismic activity. Well, people do obviously monitor seismic activity, but I guess, merging different things together. So it's more of like, from a holistic perspective, allowing scientists, informing them, because I think people think that scientists, are all knowing about all things, but they're not. They know a lot about a niche subject. Okay, just because they're scientists doesn't mean that they know everything about every subject in the scientific field. Okay, so a lot of them, they know a lot about their area of expertise, certainly, but that doesn't mean that they know about Amoc decline. Okay, so a seismologist, for instance, might not know about, or a geophysicist, or not geophysicist. That's probably not the right example. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, not everybody knows the same things. Okay, just because you're a scientist doesn't mean that that they have the same insight as everybody else. Okay, because not everybody works in the same field, and this information is suppressed, majorly suppressed. There's a huge information suppression machine against these things being publicly disclosed, and it's very managed very carefully how this information is disseminated and distributed into, or shared in, the population. Okay, they want it to be very, it's very muted is probably the best word. Muted, like they want this conversation to be muted is the best way to put it. Or at least, kept amongst, a select, basically not made national news is essentially what we're talking here. Let's change that. Okay, let's change that. Let's reach out to our politicians who, again, bless them, they have so much to deal with. And again, there's such an effort to keep these matters suppressed. And they don't have, it's not their fault they're not aware of it, so don't take it out on them. Okay, don't expect them to have this insight, because a lot of people don't have this insight. A lot of people are not aware that these things are happening. Okay, I just had to send my MP like an email addressing, because he wrote back to me, God bless him, and I had to address his points, and come back to him with like bits and pieces that sort of contradict what he was saying about Amoc and the geomagnetic field decline. Again, it's not his fault he's not aware. I came across this information because of the circumstances of my life have conspired to bring me to this point, for outside reasons and being part of this program and stuff. And so I think he doesn't know, because it's not within his his sort of, he hasn't come across it, and it's not his fault. And lots of people are in the same position, and they deserve the chance to survive and have their and it's not even the survival bit per se. Well, it is a survival bit, but it's also they deserve to have that insight. They deserve the chance to sort of make, have a say in, or at least try to secure resources and look after themselves and their families and their communities, to have a say, to have a voice, to have awareness, like I said, about these matters. So again, everybody deserves that awareness. We must share this burden amongst the population, and come up with solutions together. We can do it. We can do it. If we do, we can make that choice. It may be that it doesn't happen, and I hope to God it does. But even if it doesn't, okay, but let's try. Saying that you can't make a difference, if everybody said that they can't, oh yeah, there's no point in me trying, I can't make a difference, my voice doesn't matter. If we all said that, we would never get anywhere. We would just, the status quo will remain. And again, lives are at stake here. Okay, lives are at stake here. That's what we're talking about. Okay, many lives are at risk. Okay, because of these changes, and so we've got to be real about that and take it seriously. And there are things that we can do to help mitigate against that sort of that potential loss and destruction. So again, forewarned is forearmed. Okay, so let's please reach out to your politicians, political representatives, and insist they transparently declare these matters, issues matters of national security, and again, assign dedicate a portion of the budget to gathering these resources and bolstering flood defences and assessing what needs, basically because again, not every country is the same. Every country has the same geography, or the same needs, or the same demographics in their population, or the same resources even. And so each country, I guess, has got to decide what it can do according to those things. But let's help each other along the way with that. Okay, so anyway, thanks for listening and take care.